to our friends joining us by live stream. Today, our minister, Reverend Tara Landers, is away. We are so pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Reverend Megan Visser. Reverend Megan is a Unitarian Universalist minister, chaplain, and social scientist. She has also been, our community minister in affiliation since 2018. Reverend Megan received her ministerial training at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, First UU Church of San Diego, and Cedars-Sinai Medical Center here in Los Angeles. After 10 years teaching at Star King School for the Ministry and 4 years as a parish minister, Reverend Megan is now a chaplain fellow at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, where she also does research on spiritual care in the pediatric ICU. Reverend Megan shares her life with her wife Stephanie, 2 cats named Maui and Salem, and a hamster named Cannoli. She loves sharing in worship and community life with us here at Throop because she sees the values and spirit of joy and liberation come alive in this community. If you are new to Throop, we would love to stay connected with you. Please fill out an info card found in the pew. If you are online, sign our online guest book. Welcome. We are so glad you're here. Each one of us is a light in the world. The flame from our chalice symbolizes and reflects that light.
Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with love, compassion, and justice. With these words from the author's blank, so anonymous, I guess, at this point. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. We light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose lands we now occupy. The land under and around Throop is the unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva Band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into dismantling systems of supremacies and oppressions. We light a third candle symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts.
Number 126. Yeah. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of orphans silent, hear the love grow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven greet your neighbor. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways, lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union, help our hands to love our own. With thine aid, thou fount of justice, lead me there as heaven above. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
Can't stop community, you can't stop our music. And one of the things in the intro that Taryn read was about how much I love and value this community. One of the things that makes me so happy to be back at Throop, so happy to be friends and colleagues with Reverend Tara, who we send our love to as she travels, is this promise to our planet. So shall we read together the promise to our planet printed in your order of service? As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. With hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources, we promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself. Thank you. Our responsive reading this morning is printed on the insert inside your order of service. You may have seen it. It has a lot of words, doesn't it? How is it a typo? How are we going to do this? Well, I want to tell you a little bit about the Rubin Museum. I've never been there in person, but they have a virtual exhibit online. And in 2018, two women created this community art project in which visitors to the museum were invited to write one thing they were anxious about and one thing they were hopeful about. Hope and anxiety are, of course, two different ways of expressing vulnerability, about the unknown future we face. The goal of the project was connection and to receive the gift that we are not alone. I want to invite you to read at your seat to yourself. It could be a whisper, it could be inside your mind, but to read some of the hopes and anxieties that were collected on that wall. And if you get to one that speaks to you that says, yes, that is my story too, I have felt that way, I invite you to say it out louder. And so this is a responsive reading all at once. I'm hopeful because there are a lot of people waking up and becoming more loving.
I'm hopeful because I enjoy following along with light of brightness. I'm hopeful because humanity seems to grow increasingly educated, compassionate, and progressive.
I'm anxious because I don't know what's next.
I'm hopeful because recognizing the problem allows movement toward the solution. I'm hopeful because there is good in the story. I'm hopeful because I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful because I have good relationships with family and friends.
I'm anxious because too many people don't listen to others, especially if they disagree. I'm anxious because of the state of our country.
I'm hopeful because everything is temporary.
I'm hopeful because I am working for change. May this community be a place where we can express vulnerability about the unknown future we face. May we feel connected to one another. May we receive the gift that we are not alone. In a follow-up to this responsive reading, I want to invite us to make our own.
I don't know about you, but once it gets to December 1st, there is just a mood of both hope and anxiety together. Anyone ever feel that way about it? Yeah. It didn't matter whether it was in the school semester or just planning presents. It didn't matter what was happening, or just the fact that it gets dark at 4:35 o'clock. There's just something changes in my mood that makes it both hopeful and anxious. I want to invite us to be able to take the opportunity in this community to share some of our own hopes and anxieties. If you received, I believe, a Post-it on your way in, maybe, yes? And I think maybe at the back there's possibly extras, but you probably did get a Post-it or two. And hopefully you have a pen, maybe pencil, crayon. writing utensil. If you have a stylus for your iPad, I don't have anything to offer you, but if you have a pen or a pencil, that would be wonderful. And what I'd like you to do is to take an opportunity to share a vulnerability, a hope, or an anxiety that's meeting you in this season of light that is the theme of this month at Throop. What is one hope and one anxiety you're holding right now? And as you write it, I hope that you will feel the connection you have to others in your pew, the connection to the universe beyond our understanding, the connection to mystery and miracle. What is the hope or anxiety that you bring with you into this space that you would like this community to hold with you? And after you have written it, I invite you to bring it forward to honor it on one of these scrolls. This is not the Santa's naughty list and nice of presents, no presents. We have 2 long pieces of craft paper at the front, and I invite you to bring yours forward or send it forward with a neighbor to post as our hopes and anxieties that we will hold together in this community. You don't have to write your name. You don't even have to write very much. Or you could leave an image. But sharing in community some of these things that we hold in our hearts is a way to receive that gift that we are not alone. You may begin. this sacred community, may we find ways to express vulnerability about the unknown future. May we find ways to connect and see the season of light that surrounds us, even as the days grow shorter. May we find connection and receive the gift that we are not alone. We now have an opportunity to sing our children and program leaders into Kids Dig In with words that are in your order of service.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
Our pondering moment this morning is a poem by Wisława Szymborska called Utopia. Island where all becomes clear, solid ground beneath your feet. The only roads are those that offer access. Bushes bend beneath the weight of proofs. The tree of valid supposition grows here. Branches disentangled from time immemorial. The tree of understanding, dazzling straight and simple, sprouts by the spring called, now I get it. The thicker the woods, the vaster the vista, the valley of obviously. If any doubts arise, the wind dispels them instantly. Echoes stir unsummoned and eagerly explain all the secrets of the world. On the right, a cave where meaning lies. On the left, the lake of deep conviction. Truth breaks from the bottom and bobs to the surface. Unshakable confidence towers over the valley. Its peaks offers an excellent view of the essence of things. For all its charms, the island is uninhabited, and the faint footprint scattered on its beaches turn without exception to the sea, as if all you can do here is leave and plunge, never to return into the depths, into unfathomable life.
Far beyond
This church is our church. We support it through our gifts of time, our gifts of talent, and our gifts of treasure. You can give online. The link is in the order of worship. If you are here in the room, you can place your donation in the offering plate. If you would like your donation to count toward your pledge, please use the green envelope and write your name on it. If you are a first-time visitor, please let the offering plate pass you by. Thank you for supporting our life together. The offering will now be greatly received.
Now touch the air softly, step gently, 1, 2. I'll love you till roses are robin's egg blue, and I'll love you till gravel is eaten for bread, and lemons are orange, and lavender is red. Now touch the air softly, swing gently the broom. I'll love you till windows are all of a room, and the table is laid, the table is bare, and the ceiling reposes on bottomless air. And I'll love you till heaven rips the stars from his coat, and the moon rolls away in a glass-bottomed boat, and Orion steps down like a diver below, and the earth is ablaze and ocean aglow. And I'll love you till heaven rips the stars from his coat, and the moon rolls away in a glass-bottomed boat, and Orion steps down like the diver below, and the earth is ablaze and ocean aglow. Now touch the air softly and swing the broom high. We will dust the gray mountains and sweep the blue sky, and I'll love you as long as the furrow the plow, and however is ever and ever is now, and I'll love you as long as the furrow the plow, and however is ever and ever is now.
In the spirit of gratitude, we lift up our thanks to those supporting our worship today. Reverend Megan for being with us, Steve, our live stream operator, Dave for chalice lighting words, Carson and Jamie for the children's program, Jeannie, our usher and greeter, Tom, our coffee and conversation host, Megan for music, and Fillory for administrative support. As we give thanks for this offering and all the ways we support our Throop community, please say with me the words in your order of service. For the ministries of the church in our community, we bless our offering with love and hope.
Let us sing together our centering hymn, Nada te turbe, number 1047 in the teal hymnal.
Nada te turbe, nada te espante, que a Dios tiene, nada falta. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, solo Dios basta. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, quien a Dios tiene, Those who seek God shall never go wanting. Nothing can trouble, nothing can frighten. God alone bears us. Nada te turbe, nada te espante. Quien a Dios tiene, nada falta. Nada te turbe, nada te espante. Solo Dios basta.
Yesterday was December 2nd, and in our household, that meant that this was the day in December where everything was happening, everything we were invited to, everything that was due, everything that was both fun and a burden that needed to happen was December 2nd. And we had to choose which things do we pay attention to, what deserves our energy, where do we really have that bandwidth? So in our time of pastoral prayer and shared silence, I'm actually going to ask you if you have a smartphone. I'll invite you to open up a calendar app on it. I mean it, yep. And I'd love to hear what your December 2nd is this month. Is there a particular day that is, really full, that you have a December 2nd in mind? Maybe you don't even need to open the app. You just know which day it is. So which day is it for you? December 5th, okay.
December 6th.
December 6th. December 16th. Okay. December 8th. Oh, we've got two. You have two. Okay, so we're going to take this time of prayer real seriously, right? Okay, good. Any other dates that feel really full?
December 12th.
December 12th. 11th, okay, all front-loaded in the front of the month. I bet if you keep going, there's a few later on too. But what I'd like for you to do now as I offer a blessing from the one and only Jan Richardson, I'd like you to let your phone close, let the app close, you don't have to shut it off. I'm not going to make you go that far. If you do, let me know at the end. I don't have stickers, but I will want to give you a sticker or some sort of special prize. And just let the phone go dark. Let it go to a blank screen. Let those commitments fade just for a moment as we are offered a blessing for traveling in the dark. Go slow if you can. Slower, more slowly still. Friendly, dark, or fearsome, this is no place to break your neck by rushing, running, by crashing into what you cannot see. Then again, it is true. Different darks have different tasks, and if you have arrived here unawares, if you have come in peril, or in pain. This might be no place you should dawdle. I do not know what these shadows ask of you, what they might hold. That means you good or ill. It is not for me to reckon whether you should linger or you should leave. But this is what I can ask for you, that in the darkness there be a blessing, that in the shadows there be a welcome, that in the night you be encompassed by the love that knows your name.
Sure on this shining night of stormy shadows round, kindness must walk watch for me this side the ground. The late year lies down the north. All is healed. All is health. High summer holds the earth. Hearts are whole. Sure on this shining night I weep for wonder, wandering far alone of shadows on the stars.
For all its charms, that utopian island was uninhabited, and the faint footprints scattered on its beaches turn without exception to the sea, as if all you can do here is leave and plunge, never to return into the depths, into unfathomable life. You may have been one of those people who followed Marie Kondo, decluttering your life. She was a professional and the queen of decluttering. You remember her? She sold 13 million copies of her first book on the art of tidying up, and a hit Netflix show that both gave us that phrase, "Does this spark joy?" Maybe you have tried her methods. I definitely did. She seemed like she'd taken the mystery out of organizing my life. I bought drawer organizers. I tried folding things in thirds, asking myself that essential question. And since moving houses a couple of years ago, I remembered that I had almost forgotten about the KonMari tidying up methodologies until this past week, where I was reminded of an article that came out about her, about two new things about Marie Kondo. First, that we're actually about the same age, which I didn't know. And secondly, that she'd kind of given up on keeping her home tidy after having her third child. She said that her husband and she now prioritize their relationships with their children over cleaning up, and the things that spark joy are not things at all. They're activities. She realized what some of us already know, that many of us understand, that there's simply not enough time to do all of that tidying up. Did she seek to achieve a utopia of home furnishings and storage organization and simply fail? No, but the ideal changed with her reality. She said, "My home is messy, but the way I'm spending my time is the right way for me at this time and in this stage of my life." The water she was swimming in, motherhood ×3, changed her. And in turn, she created something new. Instead of KonMari, the art of tidying up your space, she says she's now practicing kurashi, a Japanese concept that roughly translates to the ideal way of spending our time. focusing on decluttering her time so that she's focused on what is truly important and does bring joy. I know that living through the pandemic brought me towards some new ideals, some new karashi, a shift in the ideal way I saw spending my time. And in living the questions, as Unitarian Universalists sometimes say we do, we may sometimes blur the lines between perfect and failure, between mystery and miracle, living into what we can control, and sometimes being confounded or in awe or wonder of what we cannot make possible. For some of our Unitarian and Universalist forebears, establishing a perfect utopian community, a literal embodiment of what Szymborska's poem showed us. They spent a lot of time on this, creating groups of people that were shifting their time towards spending their labor living intentionally in community. The utopian community movement was a movement that took off in the 1850s. Yes, the 1850s, not the 1970s. And while some of those utopian communities did hold a free love philosophy, the Unitarian examples actually tended to be a little more traditional. The 1850s in the United States, they were confident in humanity's goodness and assured in God's grace. Our Universalist forebears embraced the doctrine that all are saved. And our Unitarian forebears came to believe that humans, created in the image of God, could draw closer to God by perfecting themselves. The then mostly white Unitarian and Universalists of predominantly Northern European heritage held a sense of optimism and idealism connected to both their theology and the philosophy presented in the founding of the country, an often religiously based pursuit of new or better life. And at this moment, in the middle of the 19th century, there were 100,000 people participating in over 130 utopian communities. And there's a few prominent ones connected to our own Unitarian Universalist faith, though one of them only lasted about 7 months. But there's a couple others I'd like to tell you about. In 1840, George Ripley, a Unitarian minister and a transcendentalist in West Roxbury, wrote to his buddy, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and to share his intentions about setting upon these ideals, this utopian vision, to create an intentional community that could closely embody the transcendentalist ideal of principled living, a spiritual union between physical labor and healthy intellectual development and individual freedom. In his letter to Emerson, he told his friend that he wished to remove class distinctions and that this new community would foster a more natural union between intellectual and manual labor than now exists. He planned to accomplish this by providing everyone with work according to their tastes or their talents, as well as the fruits of their labor. He thought it would be a way of doing away with the necessity of menial services by opening the benefits of education and the profits of labor to all, to prepare a society of liberal, intelligent, and cultivated persons whose relations with each other would permit a simple and wholesome life. If wisely executed, he felt it would be a light over the country and the age. If not the sunrise, it will be the morning star. I wish to see a society of friends working, thinking, and living together with no strife, except that of each to contribute the most to the benefit of all. While Ripley felt strongly about removing class distinctions, his letter seemed to suggest that he meant by educating or elevating everyone to a particular kind of class, not just bringing everyone together. However, Ripley felt strongly that all work was valuable and uplifting to the one who performed it. Now, life at Brook Farm, that began in a common farmhouse known as the Hive. This community was able to build buildings, including a factory, a greenhouse, a school. And although it was initially founded on the principles of transcendental Christianity, it came more to resemble the work of social scientists and ideas that were meant to create a perfect economic and social climate for happiness and harmonious living. A day at Brook Farm was characterized by early rising, wholesome living, and hard work. And still, personal improvement and joy, and even some fun, was still valued as a way of pursuing and expanding one's intellectual, cultural, and spiritual horizons. Overall, the members of Brook Farm believed that they could create this utopian microcosm of society that would eventually serve as a model for and inaugurate a social macrocosm to build a city of God anew. During its time, Brook Farm drew the attention of many famous literary and social figures: Elizabeth Peabody, Theodore Parker, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and even a man named Adin Ballou, who went on to form his own Unitarian community called Hopedale. Margaret Fuller was a regular visitor. Nathaniel Hawthorne lived there a little while, although he eventually sued for the return of his investment on it. He did write favorably about it in one of his novels later on. Brook Farm was this cautionary tale, though, for anyone wishing to count their chickens before they hatched, collapsing after a 6-year run due to financial issues and a fire. Even though it didn't succeed, even though people moved elsewhere into the sea, maybe, of unfathomable life, Brook Farm does occupy this important place in various mid-19th century reform movements, abolition, women's rights. And then there was Hopedale. Hopedale took their vision of utopia, bringing heaven to earth, out from the community's space and into social movements beginning in their time. During their 14-year run, they got double. We're onto something. During their existence, its founders and members were committed to the improvement of the human mind and spirit. They were active in movements for abolition, again, for women's rights, for peace and temperance. Often visitors would come and stay a while, those including Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, William Lloyd Garrison, Lucy Stone. They spoke to large crowds about contemporary topics of social justice. Ballou wrote, "We cannot live merely to eat, drink, sleep, gratify our sensual appetites, dress, display ourselves, acquire property, and be accounted great in this world, but to do good." Hopedale reached a population of 200. It grew to 500 acres, and by 1852, the community had reached a peak population. It had achieved its goal of becoming a village with its own school, chapel, post office, factory, and bank. Yet it, too, suffered from financial problems. Ballou wrote heartbreaking words during its closure, calling it a moral failure. The predominant cause of the failure of the Hopedale community was a moral and spiritual, not a financial one. A deficiency among its members of those graces and powers of character that were required to the realization of the Christian ideal of human society, such as that enterprise was designed to represent and exemplify. The movement, he said, was too far ahead of and above the world in its then existing or present state of advancement to be practical. In both societies, Hopedale and Brook Farm, people who participated were, in fact, changed by their participation, by taking on the challenge of acting on the principles that might bring heaven to earth. Utopianism touched many lives, and Unitarians and Universalists did not abandon their beliefs in reforming and improving society onward and upward forever. To me, this first Sunday of Advent in the Christian tradition of traveling through more darkness, traveling through shorter days, making more with less as we go one step at a time through anxious uncertainties toward a small sparkle of life, of light, of hope. No matter your connection to Advent, the U.S. holiday season can feel like this too. Hope and anxiety married as one. It reminds us that life, living as Unitarian Universalists today, is not a utopian venture. It is not either being just left with technocracy, with technical solutions to simple problems, without any vision of the possible. The karashi, or what sparks our joy. Whether you consider yourself an idealist or a realist, striving for an ideal or dealing with what is, this is a challenging time in our world to sit with idealism, to think about. I feel cynical sometimes thinking about those utopian communities and thinking, what were they talking about when the world was experiencing so much challenge and conflict and strife in their time as in ours? As we confront global conflicts, war and bigotry emboldened, what is the Unitarian Universalist idea of moving through seasons of light, accepting that there is both mystery and miracle amongst us, of being Advent people or being people who in their own way think of us anticipating and creating the holy with how we use our time and connection to one another. Unitarian Universalists are, as Reverend Marilyn Sewell writes, a people dedicated foolishly or stubbornly to saving the world. Those of us who are alive in these times have a clear and evident mission. We do have a compelling moral purpose that can direct our lives, our time, and our energies. We are about saving the world. The place to begin is at home with ourselves. Notice what is life-denying and resist it. Form communities of people who will sustain you in living and moving toward this purpose. In mystery and miracle, we Unitarian Universalists choose over and over again to visit, but to leave the island of utopia without losing its meaning, to plunge ourselves into a fathomable life against the odds. As our chalice lighting this morning offered, we are people of both mystery and of miracle, and action and love in the middle. May love guide us through this time, and may each of us contribute the most to the benefit of all. Will you sing with me now our closing hymn, number 1015, I Know I Can.
And
Friends, will you place your hand on your heart and reach out to someone else in the room? Our chalice is extinguished. We carry its light within us. Take care of one another. Make more love, make more justice in the world. Bring one another into this season of light with mysteries and miracles in your heart that you can share and show to one another. May you find love and courage in these times. And it is so good to be with you in community. Be well.